My name is Michael Echave. I'm an ATG here at ATG. I'm a technical specialist for the AEC industry. Today we're going to talk about total project cleanup. We're going to go through two different workflows. We're going to start off doing a total project cleanup in terms of cleaning your project and lowering the full file size. And then we're also going to go into coordination model cleanup as well. In terms of my background, I come from a structural design background, so I'll talk about linking and cleaning up a coordination model from an architect, and then linking that into my model with a lower file size, and then also cleaning up my model to send for coordination in terms of sending it off to subs as well. To kick this off though, we're going to be going over again about the total project cleanup. Revit files grow in both size and complexity throughout the design process. Large files full of unused content and extraneous information can lead, of course, to slower speeds and in some cases corrupted files. So in order to do this, we want to actually clean out our files while we're actually using them and keeping an eye on file sizes throughout the life of the project to kind of give a pulse on how the health of the project is kind of coming along. So learning objectives for this are going to become more familiar with Revit tools in the BIM Manager suite. And this is a CTC tools that we're going to be leveraging here today. And I'm going to kind of go over on how to use those plugins as well in terms of the tabs and the ribbons. Learn the workflow that expedites tedious process of Revit file maintenance, and understand how a few simple steps can lead to a maximum efficiencies in a company's standard workflow. So let's go over here. We're going to go into our model that I have set up right here today. So in this model, we're just going to start off initially with the dim checker. So in terms of leveraging the dim checker, and this is a CTC tool, so CTC products are going to have their own tab with one single installation. There are different project suites here in terms of a project suite, batch suite. Right now today, we're just going to go over the manager suite. The great thing about the CTC tools is that they allow you to stay within the design environment that you're using, and this in turn is Revit. As you can see, I dragged it down. I'm able to unplug it from the actual tab itself. You can dock it wherever you'd like to. If you had a second screen and you wanted to leverage a second screen, you're more than welcome to do that as well. There are suite settings within it as well in terms of if you don't want to use all the tools that are in the suite that you're leveraging. Right now, we're going to be leveraging the manager suite. You can come in here and actually change what you want to see. I'm using the small icon so you guys can have a better look at everything that's laid out throughout. With all these tools, they have an about, support, and when we go more in depth in the tools, I'll show you that they actually have a video. So if you didn't get enough information from me today, you can go and check those out. And then within this manager suite, there are colors, as you can tell, associated with these icons themselves. The lighter ones are the actual free tools. Today, you can go into the CTC website and download these tools for 14 days, and they give you access to the complete suite in terms of the darker green ones. Lighter green ones are always free, and I will show you guys the project cleaner today, and this is, again, a free tool that you guys can have forever. And then the darker green ones are 14 days free. After that, you guys would have to get a license for them. But right now, we're going to go over dim checker. So I'm actually going to go down to general floor plan and kind of just talk about a workflow that something might happen in terms of actually leveraging the tool itself. So in here on a day-to-day project, you're going to be taking a dimension from one location, let's say from here to here, over to here. Now, sometimes in these dim dimensions that are actually laid out, maybe someone didn't like how that was laid out. They're not going to change the wall. They're not going to make these even in real life in terms of how they're going to be laid out. And they wanted to actually change the dimension style here and replace it with something, right? They can't go in here and directly replace it with an actual dimension. Let's say 7 foot, 8 inches, right? They can't go in here and actually do that. It won't allow them. So the majority of the times is either A, they'll come in here and put a period. Then they'll come back and do a text over this section and do what they wanted to have happen. So 7 feet, 8 inches, done, right? That's a little wonky. We're going to go a little bit lower in our text. Place this over, of course. and move it on over to right where we want it to be. And this is our new dimension. Now we're worried about this, right? Compacting over time and worried about actually leveraging this and it not being correct size. Right now, it's not a huge difference in terms of actually what we're doing, but over time impact, it's going to be a huge concern about what's going on in our project here. So right now we're going to go over to the dim checker, and this is going to let us fix that issue and kind of figure out where these issues are outliers within our project themselves. So dim checker, again, is a CTC product, and this is a paid tool. So right now we're going to go through and kind of explain the overview of dim checker. Again, we're going through our project and cleaning it up, making sure that everything is correct in it. One of these steps would be the dim checker. You can go through here and use actual values, which we don't want, right? We want to see what was replaced in our actual project. So we're not going to select that one. We're going to go down here and select the replace text. If you had, of course, actual value and you wanted to use text fields, you can pick that as well above, left, or right. We're not going to use that or reference that here. You can include certain text parameters that you have with it that you wanted, or text items, or you can exclude some. I'm going to exclude the tip and the C. And then we're going to do a quick search. So this is going to go through my whole project and actually look for where things have been changed, right? Replaced with a text. So in some instances, some people will go through and actually replace it with a period. So in here, you kind of have a whole thing laid out. We have an element ID. We have the host view that it's actually related to in. We have segments. We have the actual value of the dimension. And we have what it was replaced with. So in this instance, I replaced mine with a dot, which is down here. This is the one I did earlier. But in other places, people have replaced it with an actual period, right? What if we wanted to actually know where that was located in our drawing so we can kind of figure out where the issue lies? You can actually double click it, and it'll bring you right to the actual plan that it's laid out in, or where it's actually located. For this instance, it's in a plan. Now I know that's located in here, and it was replaced with a period. So you can obviously use this in terms of actually leveraging where you wanted to go throughout your whole set and look where things were changed. So in terms of here, let's just go to this one right here, actually see where it was leveraged and changed. These are all saying 8, replaced with a text and a period, and it's actually 8 foot 2 inches. So this allows you to go through your whole project and actually assess what was overwritten or changed with a different text value. This tool saves you time, and again, huge consequence down the road when they're actually building these in terms of actually leveraging what the actual dimensions are. So cleaning out your process, cleaning out your project, allowing you to be more efficient is valuable. So after dim checker, so let's say we went through and we did all of our dim checks. This other tool over here is type swapper. So type swapper, this tool makes it easy to change the type or style used for the text, dimensions, inline elements. Family elements can also be swapped as well. So selecting this tool, again, great thing about the CTC tool is that it keeps me in my design environment. Up here, you have about, support. If you guys had any questions, you can contact support down here. If you guys want to request a feature, let's say if you guys had a feature you guys wanted to leverage as well that you guys have an idea of, you can do that. Or the videos. The great thing about the video is, again, if you select it, I didn't cover enough and more in depth, you can click the video and it'll bring you to a video of how the tool is actually leveraged. So in type swapper, this is going to bring up a couple different tabs. It has duplicate families, dimension styles, text types, line styles, fill patterns, and materials. So in here, we have all of our duplicate families. In this instance here, we have our family name, and then what I want to swap it with. So this was a duplicate, as you can tell, circular handrail, and someone made a circular handrail 1. I don't want to have this excess family types that I have in here in terms of family duplicates. I want to replace these, and they'll tell you what profile it is as well in terms of category. And you want to replace. So you can swap these out, and then after that, you can delete the duplicates. So that again is bringing down that file size, that overall file size that you want to purge out items that aren't being used. In this term, it's a duplicate, so you don't want to have 2 of the same items being used in your project. You want to swap it out for the one singular item, and then delete all of my duplicates, again, reducing your file size. And in a little bit, we'll go over what file size means in terms of actually processing it through your desktop. You can then go to dimension styles and do the exact same thing. So you can go through all your existing dimension types. It's going to tell you dimension style. It's going to tell you the count. How many instances was this placed or used in my model itself? And then you can go down and swap it to whichever one you want to replace it with. You can click the approved in terms of you've approved this type that you want to leverage from now on throughout your project. Let's say you consistently had a selection that you wanted. You could save your selection out and reload that selection in. You can clear it. And again, delete which ones you do not want to have in your project anymore. Again, we're leaning out this project, making it more efficient, saving us time with what I used to call the spinning wheel of death, sitting here trying to have your project load. Now we're going to go over and talk about text types, right? So again, same kind of layout as the dimension style. You have approved, existing text types, your count, how many times and instances was this placed in your model, where you want to swap it to. So again, if you had, let's say, a quarter aerial 2, someone made a second one or a duplicated one, and you wanted to change those and bring everything down to the one that you needed to be associated with, which we'll go over. I'm going to be showing you guys a model in a little bit that kind of has all these instances where there's too many of them, where you'd want to break them up. You have line styles. Now this is a big one, right? So let's say you bring a lot of other imported items in, or you have someone in your firm that loves to explode CAD files in your Revit, right? That's blowing up your model. That's actually very bad and you shouldn't do it. But if you have someone in there that has done it and you need to trim out all of the line styles that came in, you're more than welcome to come in here. This is a great asset to have in your firm and leverage this line styles. You can go in here and actually change. You can see again, you have the line styles, your count, what you want to swap it to. This sketch was used 3,000 times, 3,000 and some change. If you wanted to swap that 3,000 instances, you can come in here and swap it for something you'd like it to, and you just have to select it and it's going to go through your whole project and swap it. Swap it out if you wanted to. Same thing with fill patterns. Again, if you're bringing in content and you're worried about all your fill patterns that you have associated with it, you can come in here. It's going to have the approved. If you guys know internally what you guys want approved and you guys have kind of consistently decided this is the standard of what we're going to have in each project, you can come in here and then see what has been brought in, and in terms of existing fills, what type, where these are placed in terms of model, drafting, filled regions, material that's associated with it, and swap it to that. And down here, you have a couple options to include filled regions, to disinclude materials if you wanted to. Again, you can save your selections if you wanted to and delete whatever you don't want. And then you have the same thing over here for materials. So this is huge in terms of creating a clean, if you're looking through and just cleaning out your project and you want to purge all the unused items because you have so many duplicates of something, you can go through here, clean them out, reassociate them, and then purge out which ones are now no longer being used in your project. So we're going to briefly go over another tool here. Again, we just went over 2 tools. We went over Dim Checker, which was a paid tool, Type Swapper, which was also a paid tool, and now this other tool, which is Import Link Manager. Then we're going to go over a free tool that you guys can download today, which is Project Cleaner, which is one that I use all the time in terms of receiving a coordination model, slimming it down so I can link it into my current model and not reduce the speed on me operating in that model or designing in that model. So right now we're opening up the Import and Link Manager. This assists with locating and managing files that have been imported or linked into the current project. So right here you have a couple tabs, all. So these are all the items that are actually linked into or imported into my model. You can just go to all the links if you wanted to. You can go to all imports, Revit links, CAD links. Let's just go to Revit links so far. This was actually big. I was currently working on a project where we had a ton of links from cloud points and we wanted to pin them after we imported them in. So the great thing about this is if I wanted to pin all these items, I can go up here and shift down and just immediately hit pin. You can also go to unpin. You can change the work sets these are located on. reference type, room bounding, reload, swap from where it's located, swap where it's located from, find in place and remove. Again, let's go to the archaic way of we're going to go in here to manage, go in here to manage link, right? We'd have to go in through here, figure out where it's located, resave the path, try to figure out if it was pinned or not. You'd have to go in and select the link, all that good stuff, which takes forever, right? Right now, all we have to do is go into one area. It's going to show every single link, where it's located in terms of actually having it pinned. You can go through here. You're going to see the name, the ID of the element, insertion method, work set, hosted view that it's on, reference sheet, sheet number, type, pinned if it's not pinned or it is pinned, linked file location, file size, and status. So this allows you to go through and rigorously, if in terms of what I was using it for most recently, was to make sure and check if these were actually pinned and actually where they're reloaded from. If you wanted to go in here and find and replace the location itself, you can. Let's say you knew the location of where it was. You can go and say, hey, I want this to be changed from here. Or if I wanted it just to be changed from this point on and move forward, you're more than welcome to do that as well. So that is Import Link Manager. I'm actually going to X out of this. We're going to go back over to our slideshow over here. So let's talk about Revit file size. So we kind of talked about an overview of dim checker, type swapper, and import and managing links. So removing links in terms of what you want to use, we'll go over that in a second. But in terms of actually importing, checking where the location is, pinning them down. Dim checker, we went over and used actually changing out and making sure that we were actually using correct dimensions in our project. And a type swapper we used as well in terms of swiping out text or line styles that we were using in the project and no longer have ones that are duplicates or something that we were never using and we wanted to purge those items out, right? So we're talking about overall file size. So file size in terms of everyone kind of knows the information and sees it when they're opening up a file. They're like, hey, this is X amount size. Let's just go with an average 100 megabytes. So let's talk about sizes, right? File sizes, kilobytes. So kilobytes is just a terminology that we're using in terms of how file sizes work. So kilobytes is 1,000 bytes of information equals 1 kilobyte. And then you have megabytes, right? So megabytes to kilobytes, there's 1,000 kilobytes in 1 megabyte. And then from there on, it's going to go up the same exact way. There's 1,000 megabytes in 1 gigabyte. Go more up, we're going to go 1,000 gigabytes in 1 terabyte, right? So how does this actually work in our computer, right? So you have your input. It's going to then store the information, let's just say in your solid state or your hard drive. Let's say you wanted to access that information. Your CPU is going to pull through your RAM, which is your random access memory, the information, right? And then it's going to ask for instructions on how to calculate, which your CPU is going to want to calculate the information. And that's what your RAM is doing. So it's going through and caching and looking for instructions on how to use, let's say, opening up the Revit file itself, right? It's going to go, CPU is going to say, okay, how do I open up this file? It's going to use your random access memory, look for instruction. It's going to then push the instruction back to the CPU. It's going to then calculate and operate that and then put it output to our screen. It opened it, it showed the actual model itself. So in terms of actually leveraging how big your model should be and be more in efficiency, I like to say don't go over 300 megabytes in schematic or DD phase. That kind of gives you a good pulse and like a reference in terms of how you're going to be leveraging and why you want to keep file sizes down. And we're going to go over that right now in terms of coordination and with a free tool that you guys can download today, which is the Project Cleaner. So let's go back in. Again, I'm not one of those people that does death by PowerPoint. And we're going to go in and actually show you guys a demo on how that would work in terms of coordination. So we're going to go through here. We're going to go and grab one of our actual models for this. So we're going to go and view, as you guys can see from actually my view, an an actual model that I had from an architect. So let's say if I were being the structural design, that's my background, and I came and received a model from an architect, and you guys can look over here, we have sizes. So we actually have this architectural model coming in at 273,000 kilobytes, right? So that's almost 270 megabytes. So in terms of actually reducing that file size and not having that large of a file linked into my model in terms of structural design, I do not need everything or every content that's actually coming in to my architectural model. I mean, into my structural model. I want to clean that out before it comes in. Right down here, and we'll save it, and we'll show you, and I'll show you guys how that actually came out to this 31 megabytes or 31,000 kilobytes. How I brought that file size down, lightened it up, so it allowed me to be more efficient in terms of my design process and my structural model itself. So right now, we're going to actually exit out of this. I'm going to open up 19. This model was done in 19, so we're going to go to 19. Bear with me for a couple seconds. So we're going to go in and open these up. So they sent me a model that wasn't detached. So I'm actually, of course, going to detach their model. Detach, preserve work sets. That's where I would start off. So this would be my workflow. I'm not going to worry about their links right now. I don't need their links. I'm going to ignore and continue opening. And I'm going to go in here to the CTC tool. Now this is, again, a free tool. You can download it today. It's the lighter blue option in terms of Manager Suite. And this tool is going to populate. It's going to have a couple different tabs. You're going to have View, View Templates, Filter, Sheets, Links, Import, and Images. So right now, if I were to receive their model, I want to lighten it up. I don't need any of these views that are showing right here. I may need some floor plans because I'm going to be drawing off their floor plans. I may need some sections just in terms of actually leveraging their views. I don't need any of their schedules. I don't need any of their legends. I can go through here. I've actually saved a selection, and I'm going to reuse my saved selection and kind of go over that in a second. But if I wanted to, you can go in here. I don't need any of their view templates. I don't need any of their filters, any of their sheets, any of their links I do not need. You can go over here and select the quick select on all of that. Any of their imports, any of their images, I do not need any of their images, right? So in terms of that, you can go through here, select whatever you guys need to actually bring out of their model. You do not need everything in here in terms of what I needed. I didn't need any of that items in here, and I would actually delete and then do a couple more steps. But you can also save, right? So let's say if you guys actually had this in here, and you guys were using it all the time, you always knew you were going to receive an actual coordination model, and you wanted to kind of create a workflow that was easy. You saved a selection because you knew every time they came in, you were going to want to use that selection itself. So in here, I'm going to go in and just use the demo clean. I already created one. I'm going to save it. I'm opening it up and see how it actually already had all the selections that I had from the model itself selected and what I need deleted. So I'm just going to go here. I'm going to hit remove. So it's going to give me a warning. The following numbers of views, sheets, links, and images will be removed. 121 views will be removed. View templates, 57, filters, so on and so forth. I'm going to hit OK, and it's saying, hey, Michael, you're actually in this exit view. I can't delete it. OK, that's fine with me. You can keep this view. Now those are all deleted. Also, great thing from here, I can purge from right here. It's going to purge everything that I wanted to be purged out. And now I can go in here and do File, Save As. I'm going to do detached, and I'm just going to put web for webinar. So it's a little bit bigger in terms of actually file size, but that's about 2 megs, which isn't a huge deal. But again, so we went from 273,000 kilobytes or 273 megabytes and some change to now 33,000 kilobytes or 33 megabytes. I have a super lightweight model that I can now link into my actual structural model, lightweight, easy to use. Again, old archaic way, I'd have to go through here, delete each and individual one that I didn't want in my model, and then go through here, manage and purge, go through all my families that I want to associate with that. This just cleaned out everything that I needed to have within it. It purged out everything that wasn't going to be used. You could also use this in your current model. Let's say if you wanted to purge out all the items that we just did type swapper with, or if you didn't want to delete it from there, you can do that as well. And this is just a great way to clean up a coordination model that's coming in, or clean up an in-house model. Let's just say you had, in terms of actually leveraging it, and you had some views you wanted to take care of. You knew items that weren't on views, and you wanted to go through and actually just delete that. You had view templates that you wanted to review and wanted to delete those as well. And again, if I didn't cover enough information here, you can go up here to the videos. All these CTC tools have nice videos laid out right here. If you have any questions or help, you have videos, help. If you want to request, report a bug, easy access to any of these tools allow you to do that. And same thing if I were to be more on the structural side and I wanted to clean up my coordination model for structural, you can do it vice versa. It's just reversing the actual method of that as well. So let's go back to our demo. And review of things that we went over. So we became more familiar with some of the tools in the manager suite, learned the workflow that expedites and tedious process of Revit file maintenance. So cleaning up different types of things that are in our files. And we went over Revit file sizes, removing non-essential views, unnecessary sheets, purging in unused content, and understand how a few simple steps can lead to a maximum efficiency in your now new workflow. Does anyone have any questions? So you can link to the chat box. Oh, I actually had one. Andrew, does this import and link manager work with BIM 360? I do not have the answer to that. So does import, are you asking in terms, Hey, Andrew, if you could shoot me a message, your email, and I can get back to you with an answer to that. You can do a private message. You don't have to put your email out to everybody. You can also see my email below under questions and send me an email there to Andrew. Mike, best practice. I assume to clean up outside models to link into our MEP models. Yes. How can I convince our teams to do this? Yes, you should always, in terms of being coordination, so outside disciplines from architecturals, I used to do structure. You should always create a lightweight model to bring into your model in terms of design, right? How do you convince your team to do this? You can see the efficiency in terms of performance. There are actual tools elsewhere from this in CTC products that show analytical aspects on how the efficiency actually bring up in terms of graphs of having a smaller file size and being more efficient in a quicker process, right? So if you're linking in a 200 megabyte architectural model that you can do a quarter of the size, you're going to get more performance out of that quarter size model that's linked into your MEP design than you are going to have in terms of a 273 megabyte. So again, how do you convince performance? Any other questions out there? Again, the project cleaner that I just showed, that was a free tool. You can go to the CTC website, download these tools for free today. 14-day free trial for the paid. That last one I just showed, project cleaner, you can have it for life. It's free. All right, thank you guys for coming out today. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to email me. My email is mechave@atgusa.com. Again, my name is Michael Echave, and I'm a technical specialist here. And thanks everyone for coming by and checking out this webinar.